So I had a conversation earlier today with somebody, and I wanted to touch out with you on this topic. A frustrated, burned out business owner, been in their business, I don't know, 7 years ish. And she's like, you know what? Maybe I'm not cut out to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody's cut out to be an entrepreneur. And I know that you've been saying this since even before you published your book.
Yeah, it's true. It's entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. And I go back to a few key points is you can be entrepreneurial in spirit and work within the framework of somebody else's business. But when you are an entrepreneur, you have your own capital at risk, which creates a different dynamic with the business. So there are different ways to approach being entrepreneurial. Being an actual entrepreneur where you do risk your own capital and you're the person in charge is not for the faint of heart. It sometimes depends on the right timing. It sometimes depends on the right opportunity, but sometimes it's real specific to you. Sometimes it's personality and mindset. Mindset, you may be able to shift over time. Personality, they're just certain people who weren't meant to be entrepreneurs. And I may have shared with you, Catherine, my very sophisticated test. I wrote about this in my book, The Entrepreneur Equation, but it's, are you Santa or are you an elf? And when you think about Christmas, Santa orchestrates Christmas. He's got the vision. He tells the elves what to do. He's out in front with the sleigh. He's meeting the kids. If the presents don't deliver, it's Santa's problem. The elves get paid first. If there's anything left over for Santa, he gets it. If otherwise, he's stuck with the cookies and milk. And so there are certain people who are like Santa, and that's the role that they like to fill. There are other people who make very good elves. And the elves are people who will do the execution. When Santa says, I need you to build the toy, they will do it. They will do very well. They may even say, you know what, Santa, we need to build it a different way because they've got that hands-on knowledge, but they're never going to be Santa Claus, and they never should be. Both of these functions are very important for Christmas. You need to have Santa, you need to have elves, but you can't make an elf Santa. Santa gets sick, you can't take an elf, put the hat on him, and send him out with the reindeer. It just doesn't work. And so if you are somebody whose personality is an elf and that is the role that you are comfortable with, you will never be Santa and you will never be a good entrepreneur. And so if that is the role in your business where you want to be the elf, go work for somebody else who allows you that freedom to focus on the thing you're good at, because that's the whole point of capitalism, is focusing on our strengths, focusing on the things that we're the best at, and let everyone stay in your lane. No matter how hard you try, you can never train to be Santa Claus. You just can't. You either are Santa Claus or you aren't Santa Claus. Maybe you were born Santa and you've had some things going on. You need a little like massaging in your core. You're either Santa or you're an elf.
Could you partner with somebody who had more of those qualities, and you do the execution side and somebody else does more of the strategy, go to market, definition?
Well, partnerships are difficult. It's difficult to have a partner in business because at the end of the day, somebody's always got to be responsible. And there are certainly examples of where that has worked, but they are the exception and not the rule. At the end of the day, if you're going to sign on the dotted line, something happens to your partner, or they get hit by a bus, then what do you do? It doesn't tend to be a great dynamic. And a lot of times, the person who's Santa doesn't really want the elf thinking that they're Santa. So it's better to take on a COO role. And it doesn't mean you can't ask for a stake in the business or equity or whatnot, but it just means that maybe you're not the person risking your capital, and or maybe you're not the last person in charge, because that's just not a role fundamentally that you want to do. And it's hard. I mean, think about it. If you've got a struggling business, what's the likelihood that someone with a ton of vision is going to want to walk into your business and be your partner? Next to none. Because most successful businesses come out of the fact that you are solving a problem and you're the right person to solve that problem. So if there's somebody who's a Santa, they've got their own problem they want to solve. They don't want to come and be your partner in something unless, you happen to be a genius and came up with flying shoes or something, then maybe. But then again, you hire that person to fill that role and you do the design.
Okay. And I know that you've gotten this down to a finely tuned science
Yes.
where you can meet somebody casually at a speaking event, at a networking something, and you'll be like, yeah, read my book and then call Catherine.
Yeah, no, it's true. Part of it is, having been through so many business plans and doing investing, and you always bet on the jockey, not the horse, or in this case, the Santa Claus, not the reindeer, in this particular example. And so you have a pretty good sense of, is this a person when, the shit hits the fan, that this person's going to pivot, this person's going to bring their all? Or is this person that has one of a whole slew of characteristics, whether they need to pull an X dollar amount paycheck and that's their biggest concern, or they've got family issues, or that they're just execution oriented? You have a pretty good sense of who's that true entrepreneur. And the reality is there are a lot of small business owners who aren't really entrepreneurs in their core. They've just created a job for themselves, and that may or may not serve them well. But I can chat with you and probably put my pulse on the, whether or not you're going to be successful. I can't guarantee you'll be successful this time, because sometimes it takes a few, tries getting it right. But they're that people who are that core entrepreneur. It's in their essence. They, they don't fit well in regular organizations and regular structures. And then there are those people who aren't. And, they're both important. Not one is not better than the other. It just is.
Fantastic. That was fun. Thank you for sharing your wisdom around this.
Merry Christmas.